surrounds Oleksandr Usyk split from Alex Krasiuk. Yeah, this is strange, especially considering a month out from a very, very big fight. All the fights that Usyk fights now are big, but this is the big one, right? I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't believe there's been a statement, a proper statement. I know Krasiuk posted a couple of photos on his social media and basically talked about the journey, but there's been no statement as to why they've split. I've been around Usyk now for 4 or 5 years, and where Usyk is, Krasiuk is. And they have, it's not even a fighter manager relationship, it's almost like a brother relationship. Honestly, that's what it seems like. That Krasiuk.
Oleksandr Usyk brutally cuts ties with his longtime promoter just weeks before the Dubois rematch, sparking chaos in his championship camp.
There always seems to be issues with fighters and managers. It just seems to be part of the course. But I don't think it's that with these two. I don't. Yeah, I'd love to kind of like give you the reasons as to why, and I've made a phone call and I know the answers, but honestly, I don't. It does surprise me. And the timing surprises me as well. Do I think that's going to take anything away from Usyk's performance? No, but it is weird that when we do have the final press conference for this fight, there will be no Krasiuk there. I do wonder if that almost signals that this could be the end for Usyk as well. Like maybe they both just done their journey and Krasiuk wants to announce it before the fight. I don't know. Maybe Usyk announced a retirement after.
The undefeated Ukrainian has split from his longtime promoter Oleksandr Krasiuk after 12 years of working together. This major shakeup comes less than a month before one of the biggest fights of Usyk's career, a rematch against IBF heavyweight champion Daniel Dubois at Wembley Stadium on July 19th. The timing couldn't be more surprising, and it's left many fans and experts wondering how it could affect Usyk's performance as he looks to become a 2-time undisputed heavyweight champion.
It was a certain shock in some ways because they've been together so long and you're used to them being together and you're used to Krasiuk. But he delivers great lines for Oleksandr Usyk when his language in English is not there for him to be able to elucidate things. But and it's been a very powerful relationship for a long time. And as we all know, Krasiuk's a great guy to deal with, both in the media and around events, and it gives his time. What I read straight away into it is it's a sign that Usyk is very close to the end, and that I think people start to count the beans a little bit on who they're paying and what they're getting out of it for certain events, and maybe that saves him a few million. And for me, my reading of it, and I may be wrong, but my reading of it is this could be the end with Oleksandr Usyk if he beats Daniel Dubois. I'm not sure.
Usyk and Krasiuk have been a team since the very beginning of the Ukrainian's professional journey, right after he won an Olympic gold medal at the London 2012 Games. Krasiuk, head of K2 Promotions, has been with Usyk through every single step, from winning titles in the cruiserweight division to conquering the heavyweight scene. Their partnership has produced a long list of achievements. Together, they made history in September 2016 when Usyk claimed the WBO Cruiserweight Championship. Then came the WBC title in early 2018, followed by the undisputed Cruiserweight crown in July of the same year. In 2021, Usyk added the WBO, WBA, and IBF heavyweight belts to his collection, and most recently, he defeated Tyson Fury to claim undisputed status in the heavyweight division in May 2024.
That he wants to carry on too much longer, and why should he? He's beaten Joshua twice, he's beaten Fury twice, he'll have beaten Daniel Dubois twice. Does he really want to stay around and fight Parker and fight Ajit Kabayel? That may be in his mind at the moment. That's what I read, because there have been comments from Krasiuk saying it's been a great journey. I've been blessed to be with him along the way on the journey. It doesn't seem to be anything in terms of a reason for a fallout, other than maybe he's just looking at the numbers, Usyk, looking at the numbers of what he's earning.
But now, right before facing Dubois again, Usyk has parted ways with Krasiuk. The announcement was made through an emotional Instagram post by the promoter, who reflected on their journey with clear pride and gratitude. According to the message, their split seems to be on good terms. For Daniel Dubois, this sudden split might come as good news. Any disruption in a champion's camp, especially this close to fight night, can be a psychological and logistical advantage for the opponent. Dubois is riding high on momentum and is confident that he can turn the tables after their controversial first meeting in 2023.
No, So once we started the walk and it all became real, and then making my way to the ring, no nerves, just focus, and I'm not going to be denied. I refuse to lose. I'm here. You guys want to see a show, I'm going to give you one.
For the first Usyk fight, were there nerves when you were walking out? Because I've looked at your ring walks, and they're very different.
Yeah, just different mindset, different mentality. You know, I'm sure now, I'm more sure than I was then, and that's a big difference, you know, it makes a massive difference. Call it belief or whatever, but I just know I've got it now.
The first Usyk-Dubois fight took place in Wrocław, Poland, and ended with Usyk stopping Dubois in the 9th round. But the moment everyone remembers came in the 5th, when Dubois landed a punch that dropped Usyk to the canvas. Dubois and many fans believed it was a clean body shot, potentially a fight-ending blow. However, the referee Luis Pabon ruled it a low blow, and Usyk was given the full 5 minutes to recover, despite telling the referee that he was ready to continue, a move that stirred controversy and led Dubois' team to appeal the result. They wanted the fight ruled a no contest, but the WBA rejected their claim, standing by the original decision.
I've been punched in the stomach by sparring partners, and I've been kicked in the groin by ex-girlfriends. When you got hit around that area, what did it feel like?
Це було боляче, it was pain.
The pain that makes you sick in the groin, or the pain that makes you gasp in the belly?
You know, like a punch and like a seat, and like a up, down, up, down.
But it was a body shot. It was a body shot.
Okay, bro.
That was clear.
It was in the past. Okay, body shot. Body shot.
Yeah.
Bro, what is body shot?
Body shot, man.
Like a body shot.
I'll
body
show
shot.
you again.
Body shot. It's
I'll
like
show you
this.
again.
It's not this.
That wasn't there. You didn't go like that.
Listen, my friend.
I think one thing
What's
that
going
fans...
on? This body shot. This body shot. It's not.
okay.
It's not only one punch. It's not only one. You punch every time. I don't know who you talk to. Punch like both on Usyk. Listen, you boxer. You're not fighter MMA.
Since then, Dubois hasn't let that night define him. At just 27 years old, he has bounced back with impressive wins and made a strong case for himself as a future king of the division. After that loss, he stepped into the spotlight with a stunning 5th round knockout victory over Anthony Joshua at Wembley in September. He then followed that up with wins over tough contenders Filip Hrgović and Jarrell Miller, solidifying his status as a top-tier heavyweight. Although a February bout with Joseph Parker had to be cancelled due to illness, Dubois hasn't missed a beat. His comeback has been nothing short of remarkable, and he now holds the IBF heavyweight title after Usyk vacated it to prioritize a rematch with Tyson Fury. Dubois is now seen as the man standing between Usyk and full undisputed status once again. The upcoming rematch on July 19th at Wembley will be massive. Not only is it a chance for Usyk to reclaim the IBF title and remain the face of heavyweight boxing, but it's also Dubois' opportunity to get revenge and write his name in the history books. Dubois is aiming to become Britain's next undisputed heavyweight champion, hoping to follow in the footsteps of legends like Lennox Lewis.
Month out now from the Usyk fight. How does it feel compared to when you were 1 month out from the AJ fight?
You know what, it feels, I can't explain it because it doesn't feel the same. New experience, new challenge in that, but you know what, I'm not overly stressed about anything at the moment. Still got time to train, focus, spar, and do demolition jobs. It'll all come together. I'll just put it all together on the night. You know, I can see the Wembley arches from up there. But yeah, it's all good. Gonna just recreate the whole thing again.
Dubois has made it clear that he's in a great place mentally and physically. Speaking about the fight, he promised fireworks and predicted an all-action slugfest. He sees himself as the new lion in the division, ready to dethrone the old guard. He's confident, determined, and believes that nothing will stop him from walking away with all the belts. For him, this fight means more than titles. It's about proving he belongs at the very top and taking over the entire division.
The shape of your life, mate.
Yeah, really pushing it to another level, mate.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best that I've seen you look. In all the years that I've become to the gym, the old gym Peacock, the new Peacock, this one, there's something different.
Yeah, I think we're leveling up. I think everyone's pushing harder in the gym. Everyone's pushing me harder, and if he's iron sharpens iron, doesn't it?
His confidence is shared by some notable voices in the boxing world, including Jarrell Big Baby Miller, who was recently stopped by Dubois in a high-profile bout. Miller, reflecting on his own fight with Dubois and looking ahead to the rematch with Usyk, said that Dubois has clearly grown as a fighter. He believes Dubois has a real shot at victory, depending on how much Usyk has left in the tank and whether he can continue to outsmart his younger rival. Miller called it a great matchup and believes it could go either way, but he's leaning toward Dubois to pull off the upset.
I think he's definitely graduated since our fight. Can Dubois pull it off? I think he definitely can. It depends on how much Usyk has in the tank. If he can outwit Dubois. I think it's a great fight regardless. And you know, the best man is gonna win. You know what I mean? I want my rematch with Dubois. I'm gonna fuck him up. You know? But it's weird, man. Dubois is the only person that can make me want to hate him and then like him, like literally within 30 seconds of my brain, like I want to kill this motherfucking I like Dubois. You know what I mean? It's weird. You know, he's one of the only fighters that actually do that to me. But I realized that if you actually meet Dubois and talk to him, there's a reason why you have that love-hate sympathy with him. You know what I'm trying to say? So all power to Dubois. You know what I mean? Hopes he pulls it off in many ways and give him a goddamn rematch.
Adding fuel to this momentum, John Fury, father of Tyson Fury, voiced strong support for Dubois. Despite watching his own son fall twice to Usyk, Fury believes the Ukrainian champion could finally be showing signs of wear. From his perspective, the back-to-back wars with Tyson may have left a mark, and Usyk might not be operating at full strength anymore. Fury sees this as the perfect storm for Dubois to take full advantage of the situation, relying on youth, size, and knockout power to shake up the heavyweight division and walk away with multiple titles.
Usyk was a lucky man. Timing was right for him. That's all I can say about that. What's done's done, but let me tell you, good luck to Oleksandr Usyk. You know, he deserves to stay champion for a long time, but again, he's going to go on too long. And I just see now Daniel Dubois becoming a multi-belt champion soon, because how many fights you got in you? You come up from cruiserweight to heavyweight, you got these big men banging away at you. He's only got to walk into one, and the bar's up for him. He's on a good win over Anthony Joshua. He had a good fight with the American Miller, you know, and at the end of the day, I just think it's a young man's game and anything can happen, but you could well see a new champion in Wembley soon.
Ricky Hatton, another veteran of the sport, has also praised Dubois' rise. He views this rematch as the most exciting heavyweight clash currently available, pointing out how far Dubois has come since suffering defeat at the hands of Joe Joyce in 2023. What once looked like a career setback has, in Hatton's eyes, evolved into a turning point. Dubois has since transformed into a smarter, more composed fighter, and his recent wins over high-level opponents such as Jarrell Miller, Filip Hrgovic, and Anthony Joshua are seen as strong evidence that he's now better prepared to take on a champion of Usyk's caliber.
You know, Dubois, what do you make of that fight, the rematch?
I think it's the best fight. I think they're the best two heavyweights in the world, and there's a bit of controversy with the last time, which goes with the grain in boxing, doesn't it? A bit of controversy, but no, I think Daniel's got a better chance than he had the first time. Yeah, what with the win off Joshua, that his confidence is massively up. Well, when he fought Usyk last time, he come off the defeat from Joyce, and you know, but now he's absolutely flying. He's got as good a chance, better chance than he had the first time around, I think.
Derek Chisora, who has shared the ring with both men, offered a more measured view. He acknowledged Dubois' progress, but underlined just how hard it is to beat someone like Usyk. From Chisora's point of view, the Ukrainian's ability to remain calm and focused in high-pressure moments continues to make him a tough puzzle to solve. While he didn't make a definitive prediction, Chisora slightly leaned toward Usyk based on the champion's consistency at the highest level.
Derek, in regards to yourself, are you going to just sit back and see what happens with Dubois and Usyk first?
Yes, because I want to sit down and watch it. So, you know, give a shout to Daniel. Good luck anyway. You know, you'll be fighting a guy who's very on point. So, yeah, I'll be watching.
Fraser Clark offered a similarly balanced opinion, stating that Dubois has clearly developed into a more refined version of himself since their first meeting. He highlighted Dubois' power as a serious threat, but pointed out that beating a fighter like Usyk will take more than just strength. Clark believes Dubois will need a well-executed strategy and sharp mental focus if he hopes to flip the outcome this time around, which makes the fight even more intriguing than their first encounter.
It gives a lot more. It's a different Dubois, it's a different fight. I think he gives a lot more problem. I think he's got a lot more confidence. I think he's starting to realise when he hits things, things fall over. You know, if he hits them often enough and clean enough, it doesn't matter who you are, if you're Usyk or whoever else. I know he's a tough man, Usyk, but if Daniel hits you often enough and hard enough, you break. It's very simple. It's not rocket science. Saying that, I know he's in great form and that, but this Usyk, mate, he's the real deal, mate. So no one just get giddy and get too excited about Daniel, mate. We're talking about the real deal, and Oleksandr Usyk. When he needs to be tough and when he needs to be super smart, he's that as well. But I think Daniel, with the wave of confidence he's got, would cause him more problems now than he did before, definitely.
Chris Algieri added to the voices backing Dubois, noting how much more seasoned and confident the young Brit appears going into the rematch. For Algieri, Dubois isn't simply chasing redemption. He's arriving as a far more prepared contender. The improvements in his approach, especially showcased in victories over Joshua and Miller, are being seen as signs of greater discipline and mental maturity, which could prove decisive when the pressure mounts.
But the narrative is much better for the Dubois rematch. You've got the fact that they fought, and then since then, Dubois has been on a tear, beating guys that he was the underdog against, Ergovich, and then Anthony Joshua, of course. You know, the guy has like really revamped his entire career, turned it around, gone from a guy that people saw as a quitter to being potentially the most dangerous man in the world. So you've got this narrative now that Dubois is a different guy, so this rematch will be different. Also, you have the fact that Usyk, in the ring after his win over Tyson Fury, Dubois came into the ring, challenged him, and Usyk said, Your Excellency, Turkey, make the fight with Dubois. He's a man of his word. That guy says something, there's a good chance it's going to happen. So I believe the narrative is there, you know, for this fight, obviously, and this is one of the reasons why it's being made.
Former heavyweight title holder Shannon Briggs made it clear that he sees Usyk retaining his belts. For Briggs, it isn't just about youth or muscle, it's about intelligence in the ring. He applauded Usyk's ability to adjust in real time, control the tempo of a fight, and stay one step ahead of his opponents. Briggs believes these qualities are what separate Usyk from the rest, and why he still sees him as the dominant force in the division.
Wow, long time. You're the champ. Let's go, champ.
Oleksandr Usyk's going to face Daniel Dubois in England and Wembley. Who do you think wins that one?
I like Usyk.
Chris Eubank Jr. also threw his support behind Dubois, though his stance appeared to stem more from personal tension than pure boxing analysis. Holding a past grudge against Usyk for backing rival Conor Benn, Eubank's endorsement of Dubois brought a different kind of energy to the build-up, more emotional than technical, but still part of the growing narrative supporting Dubois.
I saw something about Usyk saying that he thought Conor Benn won the fight. I don't know if this is true. I can't imagine that he watched that fight and thought that Conor Benn won, because it's just, you know, I landed twice as many punches. But people are telling me it's true. If that's the truth, then I'm low-key rooting for Dubois.
Team Dubois, absolutely.
Because that's crazy. That's really crazy to me. And I've met Usyk a bunch of times and we've always been cool, so I was kind of shocked to see that.
Adding another dimension to the discussion surrounding the upcoming rematch between Daniel Dubois and Oleksandr Usyk, Prince Nassim Hamed voiced strong belief in Dubois' potential to seriously challenge the champion. Hamed recalled a controversial body shot during their first fight that visibly unsettled Usyk, claiming that no other fighter has made the champion question himself quite like Dubois did. He suggested that if Dubois can bring that same intensity while staying within the rules this time, the result could be disastrous for Usyk. Hamed even envisioned a scenario where Dubois dominates the rematch, portraying him as a genuine threat capable of dismantling the reigning champion.
Fury, AJ next, you think both of them coming off losses? It's the fight we always wanted to see as domestic boxing fans.
Yeah, I suppose that fight is right there and everybody still wants to see it. But to be honest, we've still got Daniel Dubois And I was sat next to Daniel Dubois.
Triple D, baby.
Triple D, baby, all day, every day. Let me just tell you this. In my eyes, for me, he's the only one. Triple D is the only one, Daniel Dubois is the only one that's ever hurt Usyk and put him down on the floor, made him think. And he was down there for like 3-4 minutes. So who's to say that once he fights Usyk again, to go out there and absolutely destroy him and bring our belts back to our country like it's supposed to be.
Dave Allen, another name who has sparred with Usyk, gave a more analytical take. He praised Usyk's technical abilities, but was equally impressed by the new version of Dubois. According to Allen, Dubois has evolved into more than just a puncher. He's become smarter, more efficient, and much more dangerous than before. That evolution, in Allen's view, makes this fight far more competitive than their previous meeting.
I think Dubois is going to beat him. That's my early prediction. I know a lot of people will obviously fancy Usyk, and rightfully so. And as much as I like Dubois and think he's getting better and all the rest of it, I'd like to see Usyk win. I think Usyk's a great fella and a great fighter, but I think Dubois will win.
Trainer Adam Booth also sees a clear transformation in Dubois. He recalled how the younger fighter used to rely heavily on a straightforward style that lacked depth. But after going through tough battles with the likes of Joe Joyce and Anthony Joshua, Booth believes Dubois has become a more well-rounded and modern heavyweight, one capable of posing real problems for someone even as skilled as Usyk.
Adam playing out. Different to the first one. I can make much more of an argument for Dubois in this fight.
Me too.
Firstly, because he actually had success in the first fight.
He did. Do you think it was a low blow?
No.
No.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
You do think it was a low blow?
Absolutely was. If you look,
you do?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, sorry. You caught me out then with the question. If you watch, it lands low, and while it's got contact with the shorts, it actually rides up at the point of impact.
So I've no use to my argument.
But it's irrelevant because they're going to fight again. Yeah. Usyk won the first time, and as he said, he won by stoppage. But Daniel Dubois is a different fighter now. Fighting is 90% mental, and he is a completely different fighter mentally. He lets his hands go with freedom. He now trusts his engine because he had those rounds with Jarrell Miller that tested his engine. Yeah. So he's kind of ticked the little boxes along the way, old school style.
Teddy Atlas took a broader view, respecting both men, not just for their skills, but also for their personal journeys. He credited Usyk's recent performances to the emotional and national struggles he's endured, suggesting that those hardships have sharpened his focus. At the same time, Atlas recognized that Dubois had grown significantly since his earlier setbacks. He pointed out that Dubois' psychological maturity and ability to rebuild himself mentally is just as important as his physical improvement, especially heading into a rematch of this scale.
I have respect for both guys. And look, we're close to Usyk, so I'm not going to hide that. And I think a lot of both of them, as men, forget about fighters, as men, I think a lot of Usyk, the man he is, what he's done really for his country, to really fight during the pressure of his country being torn apart and invaded by another country, by Russia, and to fight during those times and that going on in his country with his people, and just, like I said, just destroying what he loves, Ukraine. And I also have a lot of respect for Dubois, for the man he is and what he's become. That he fell apart in 2 fights. Yeah, different things happen, I get it, but physical things happen in the fight with Joyce, and then in the fight with Usyk.
Fabio Wardley, another heavyweight on the rise and someone who has sparred with both fighters, came down on Usyk's side. Wardley pointed to Usyk's movement, intelligence, and ability to adapt mid-fight as the tools that make him an incredibly difficult challenge for anyone, including a much-improved Dubois.
It's still a fantastic fight regardless. Obviously, Dubois had a bit of growing since his first time out with Usyk. So, yeah, it still makes for a very intriguing fight, but I do think for the most part it's pretty much going to go the same way. Not to take anything away from Daniel and his progression over time, but ultimately I just think Usyk is a hard man to bet against at the moment.
Adding more fuel to the growing debate, Lennox Lewis revisited the controversial 5th round of their first clash. He argued that the body shot ruled a low blow had a major impact on the fight's momentum. Lewis believes this exposed a potential weakness in Usyk's body resilience. In his eyes, Dubois now enters the rematch better informed, better equipped, and ready to exploit that very vulnerability.
I'm thinking he's ready. You know, he's been through the trials and tribulations. He's the King Slayer, and he's got the power. He's been there before, so he was just there. He knocked the guy down, so he knows what he needs to do. So it would be great for him to do it. Another man do it for Great Britain. It's not an easy task, but he's definitely the man that can go through with it. He's done the work. He's gone through the pedigree, and he's a certified champion. So, you know, I think he has big hopes on doing it. He's going to do it. So it's definitely his place. He's at home. He's focused. He's determined. This is his dream. So, you know, there's nothing stopping him.
You were there that night in September last year when he took on Anthony Joshua in front of 96,000 people. Were you shocked by what you saw that night?
Not shocked. I knew Daniel had it in him. The fact that he had the confidence to go out there, even the ring walk, I could tell he's pretty solid going out there. And I was very happy for him when he won, because that shot came from right field and it met its target. So I was happy for him.
The upcoming clash promises to be one of the most exciting heavyweight contests in recent memory. Usyk is chasing greatness, aiming to become a 2-time undisputed champion across 2 weight classes, a feat very few fighters in boxing history can claim. Dubois, on the other hand, is looking to rise from the ashes of their first fight and take his place among the sport's elite. With so many storylines converging, a controversial first fight, Usyk's camp shakeup, Dubois's rise, and the stakes of undisputed glory, this rematch at Wembley has all the ingredients of a classic. The world will be watching on July 19th as 2 heavyweights collide once more, and regardless of the outcome, one thing is certain: boxing fans are in for an unforgettable night.